Hey guys, welcome back to Young Americans Abroad, your best place for weekly content on young American soccer players playing overseas. My name is Austin Van Trern,
And my name is Patrick Ferry.
and welcome to our show. So guys, we're here today to talk about all the American transfers that are happening abroad. And Pat, boy, what a deadline day it was.
Yeah, happy Monday, everybody. I mean, just exciting news here coming off that thrashing of TNT to all these transfers happening. And 2021's the year here with all the qualifying and everything else coming up. Just so much excitement around the program.
Yeah, and there's a lot of trends that you see occurring. You got a lot of MLS players trying their hand abroad, mostly on loan, which is, an interesting little narrative that's going on. So, Pat, I think we should get right into the episode today.
Yeah, I think you're right, Austin. And, starting with Bryan Reynolds, just exciting for the FC Dallas product. Finally transferred. I know we made an episode, previously of where we would go at Juventus or Roma and whatnot, but it looks like Roma has finally signed him for a club record fee. Just announced today. We're filming Monday, so the deal is actually a 6-month loan with an obligation to make the transfer permanent this summer. So again, Reynolds will be only the second American ever to play for Roma. Do you know who that other American is, Austin?
That would be Michael Bradley, if you didn't know.
If you didn't know, it's awesome company to be in. And I think, even just in terms of FC Dallas, Reynolds follows Cannon as well as, Chris Richards, Weston McKennie, making those European, transfers here and coming up through Dallas. So just incredible, Austin, where he came from, back in 2017, signing that homegrown deal and coming up through the academy, rising up very quickly. Spent a few months in the USL League One with, I think it was North Texas SC there. And then, a few months later, ultimately come in his debut in 2019. So again, just an amazing, time at MLS and how he really stepped in from Reggie Cannon and again, started in, I think, 14 of the club's 22 regular season matches there. So just with even a limited amount of minutes under his belt, he was able to really, rank within the top, I think it was for MLS's annual 22 under 22, number 18 there, as well as, for the team, the most valuable player, breakout player of the year, defensive player of the year. I mean, Reynolds has done it all for a short time here. And I think it's just really exciting, Austin, to see another American in Italy.
Yeah, and he really stepped it up when Reggie Cannon left for Boa Vista over the summer, and just seamlessly fit into that FC Dallas lineup and really became a difference maker, as evidenced by, those awards he won. And, what I like about this move, Pat, is that I think Roma was more of a gamble than Juventus, to be completely honest. Obviously that Juventus move was, going on loan to a club kind of in the bottom of Serie A first and then going to them over the summer. But, this Roma move, I think, is a gamble on his talent. It's a team that really needs someone to step up at that right back position because, right now they don't have, one clear favorite there.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, Austin. It's very interesting how they play with that 3-4-2 and the 3 center backs. But, the right wing back position is really occupied right now by Rick Karsdorp, the 25-year-old Dutch player there, as well as coming off the bench is Bruno Perez. He's 30-year-old right back, but kind of intriguing and interesting just fit in terms of what, Reynolds offers going forward there, having that attacking prowess and ability to, get the balls into the box and just take players on there, and just really exciting and dynamic. So Karsdorp is really, again, in pretty good form, but doesn't have the attacking prowess that, Reynolds does here. But again, like you said, Austin, there is some area of opportunity, but also kind of, they do have some players there, and everything seems to be going pretty well. I think they're third in Serie A, so it will be intriguing to see Reynolds grind it on the training pitch there and get himself, to a starting spot. So again, I don't want to be, optimistic or too pessimistic in this case. Maybe starting off the bench and then overtaking Karsdorp. In a certain amount of time there, it seems to be ideal. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's, got to be his MO going into the season. He's a player that they bought for a reason. They spent a good amount of money getting him to the club. And I think that just shows their intent to play him. And yeah, I don't think it's going to be a long time until you see him on the field. And that excites me. I think that's, something we want to see. We want to see these players going to top 5 leagues and then also teams that are in the top half of these leagues too. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for Bryan. So, hopefully we see him soon on the pitch. But I think now it's time to move on to our next player for today, and that would be Chris Richards. So, Pat, we talked about Chris Richards here on the show for, well over 2 years, and we were always kind of hoping to see him go on loan to a Bundesliga team. And now we can finally say that's going to happen. So Chris was loaned to Hoffenheim, and, this is just a loan for the spring part of the season. And when you look at Hoffenheim, they're currently 12th in the table. Definitely have some injuries at center back. So, those minutes are there for the taking. And they also play with a 3 center back system. So I think this will, perfectly kind of fit in with Chris Richards' skill set. It'll provide him more cover in defense, but also will allow him to, get forward at times, which we've seen him do at right back, excuse me. And I just really like this move, Pat. I think it really ticks all the boxes. It's a loan and not a permanent transfer. So when, this season is over, he does go back to Bayern and could potentially feature for them next year. They got some players going out, it sounds like, and that, could provide a hole for him to kind of fill in the summer. What I also like about this move, Pat, is that he's playing for his former Bayern 2 coach, Sebastian Hoeneß. So he got a lot of minutes last year at center back and also right back for them, and they won the title there in the 3 Liga. So I think this is kind of an all-around great move for him, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Austin. Just in terms of, it just seems like a great opportunity for Richards to test himself and fight for minutes in the Bundesliga still with a pretty solid team with a very good history in German football there,
Right.
where Bayern will have all eyes there and seeing how that translates to other first team action that he gets, and then like you said, just going back to Bayern and having the chance to get some more minutes under his belt and fight for a spot there. If he does really well and everything's there, I believe he has the talent, and if he can push and do really well at Hoffenheim, I think the sky's the limit for him at Bayern, because they'll show they'll be able to recognize and see, hey, he's doing this on a weekend basis or daily basis, performing at a high level, and we could certainly use that. So I think this is a really good, almost kind of audition, in Bayern's eyes there.
Yeah, that's a great way to paint it, to be completely honest, Pat, because it sounds like David Alaba is not going to be at the club next summer. The same could be said for Jerome Boateng. That's not really a final decision yet, but that definitely opens the door for Chris when he comes back, and really just pushes him to get into that starting lineup here at Hoffenheim. And I think, again, looking at their lineup, I think you're going to see him push Kasim Adams, their right-sided center back, in that 3 at the back formation. I really think he's going to push him for minutes. And honestly, I think he's a better player than him. So I think, it might take some time, similar to Bryan Reynolds, to get on the pitch. But I think once he gets his opportunity, Pat, he's gonna take it. And we're gonna have another Bundesliga regular at center back with John Brooks.
Yeah, that's right, Austin. Shout out to John Brooks there and all the other Bund Americans there. So more to cover, but just want to actually shift gears here to the opposite side of the pitch in the attacking realm for the U.S. and talk about another kind of move that came out of nowhere, Austin, with Daryl Dike. So again, the Orlando City forward there will join the English side Barnsley FC on a short-term loan with a conditional right of recall there. It was announced today. So again, Barnsley is a member of the EFL Championship. I believe they're right now in 12th. There are 6 points back of that final promotion playoff spot, but we all know, we covered Dwayne Holmes there, and just the black hole the championship is. It's very difficult, even with a limited amount of points in between. But again, back to DK, it's just exciting. You just had that national team men's debut on 31st there, coming to that game as a substitute against TNT. Again, you can't really judge much on that game. It was just a brutal blowout, but exciting in terms of the UK work permit issues, things like that. And just kind of continuing the momentum here. And also just want to mention, which is really intriguing, Austin, is just the move itself in terms of the conditional right of recall with Orlando City there in Barnsley. So again, DK mentioned in quotes here that he is really for continuing the fitness there. Really looking forward to bringing back what he learns essentially to Orlando to continue his success there in MLS. So found that kind of interesting in that article. So not sure again if there's that option to buy. I heard 20 million was floated around there. It's kind of hard for Barnsley, I could imagine. But yeah, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Again, with all these moves from MLS, they seem to be loans. And obviously, you got the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement right now in MLS that's up, and it doesn't sound like it's going to get resolved soon. So I think you're seeing teams kind of use these loan moves to get their players some eyes on them, and potentially, raise their stocks. And I think that's the exact situation Daryl's in. And honestly, I think a team like Barnsley is almost lucky or ecstatic to have a player of, that quality on their team. And that's really exciting to me. I think, DK has all the qualities to be a really good championship player. We've talked about his size. We've talked about his technical ability. Who's making good runs and is smart on the pitch. So yeah, I think this move is perfect because if he does well, then Orlando City can sell him on for maybe a fee close to that 20 million this coming summer.
Right. And I want to quickly just mention here, great point you had about raising the stock and everything going on. It's just a win-win for the club and DK, where, he's getting fitness, he's getting experience there in Europe, but also, again, if he has a great performance, similar I talked about the audition piece where he can go back to Orlando, but just has been on the eyes, of the European scouts and some of those other clubs over there, because, it's hard to judge across the pond. So I think it'd just be great for him in the long run. I know he has those aspirations, and just really happy for DK and excited to be covering him here on the weekly report.
Yeah, that's obviously the big win, Pat. Now we get to cover him week in and week out. Our own American Akinfenwa. That's what we've been calling him.
That's right.
Yeah, get forward to that, guys. Let's hope he scores a lot of goals this spring. So yeah, Pat, I think with that, we're going to pivot over to Turkey. And there was a lot of interesting moves that occurred, in this country, in this league, this transfer window. But the one we're going to talk about today is actually Tyler Boyd going on loan to a team, Sivasspor, that currently sits 14th in the table there. And again, if you don't know, Tyler Boyd was at Besiktas, but unfortunately was one of the players who, was not getting playing time, basically because he didn't qualify due to their lack of international roster spots. So Tyler essentially spent all fall just training with the first team, and that tough. Has to be tough for him. Yeah, like you said, Pat. So it obviously was just great to see him get out of that situation and go on loan to a team that really looks to have a hole right now at right mid. So they're right mid that's played for them most of the season just got injured and looks like he'll be out for at least another month. And some of their other players in attack are a little bit older and not really performing so well at the moment. So I think you're going to see Tyler kind of come into this team and get an opportunity to start right away. And honestly, Pat, I'm just, really excited to see him get that opportunity because, we know he's a dynamic player. We know he can score goals in this league. He's done that for Besiktas. He's also done that when he was on loan to the league from, that team in Portugal. So, yeah, I'm just excited to see him get game time again. It's been so long.
Yeah, it has been a while, Austin. Completely agree. He was in a terrible situation, like you mentioned, kind of exiled there. But, sometimes you got to, move back to spring forward. And I think game time is just so crucial for Tyler. And he's a player that thrives off of confidence, right? We saw, some hiccups and some also really positive things with the senior team there in the Gold Cup and things like that. But again, I think Tyler just needs to be in the right situation. This one, you can get it playing time instantly and just make an impact on the team. And yeah, I mean, he's still playing in that top flight in Turkey, which is pretty competitive. So again, somebody that with all the competition now that the U.S. has really needs to, step it up, raise their level and get his confidence back to what it was because he can be pretty dynamic. We have a few highlight reels of him in the past.
Yeah, that's very true. He's someone who thrives, like you said, on that confidence. And again, like you said, our team is currently going through this transition phase where, our depth is starting to get more and more competitive. I feel like we've got almost a starting lineup that's almost set in stone, which is kind of crazy to talk about. But competition is just so tough now to get into the USMNT squad. So he really needed this type of move to kind of jumpstart his season and almost jumpstart his career. So it's just really great, Pat. I think this is a perfect move for him, and I hope he does well. So now, Pat, I'm going to throw it back to you for another player.
Yeah, let's take it back to England here, Austin, with Indiana Vassilev. So again, the forward there, the Aston Villa forward, was actually loaned to Cheltenham in the 4th tier in League Two on Friday. And it was actually a day after he was recalled from a loan to Burton Albion there of the 3rd tier. So he did make 12 appearances there and had 8 starts, but really wasn't getting that playing time. And I think you mentioned too off camera here, Austin, Burton Albion was kind of in a sinking ship essentially, and looking pretty bad and just a rough situation. So I think it was smart for Aston Villa to recall him there, get him out to another team here, Cheltenham, to get some more game time and experience. He is young, 19, turning 20 soon, but again, just someone full of energy and has that spirit, and I think has the grit to do really well and grind in some of those lower leagues in England, which you really need to have. So just kind of refining a few more things on the pitch and getting more experience, because I think Aston Villa still have some value there and see some qualities there for the first team.
Yeah, and it's always tough when you're in a relegation battle, especially as a lone player. You're a player that's sometimes not really given a fair shake of things. The club's going to prioritize their assets for that season and look to either give them enough game time to sell them on in the summer, or just stick by the guys that have been there the longest and the ones that they trust the most. So yeah, I'm sure it was not the type of situation that Indiana thought he was going into to start the season. But I think props to him and the club to kind of recognize that and pull him out and put him in a team that's going to give him, again, more playing time. A team that's towards the top level of League Two there in England. So I think he's going into a better situation. I think he's going to be remotivated. And I think it's just going to kind of give him a new starting point for the season, which honestly, it seemed like he needed.
Yeah, completely agree, Austin. Just, my last thoughts here were, like you mentioned, just a difficult situation. We've covered, Miazga, CCV, even, Anthony Robinson in the past, where it's just difficult in terms of there's certain situations and clubs that aren't doing well, and you're loaned for, half the season there, go somewhere else. So again, I think it's just time in a good situation where Vassilev can put his head down, grind here, impress, and then hopefully, again, get his shot. Because we did see him in the past have a few features for the first team. So he just needs to get that confidence and more game time, back to where it was. And I think maybe a good target is in the next year and a half to, get back to at least being, named in a substitute, maybe style appearance for the first team, I think is a pretty good goal he could set.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the goal. And I think it's achievable too. I think our players have shown that they've got a lot of promise and determination. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past Indy. And Pat, I think with that, we'll move to our final player for today and the final transfer that happened on deadline day, at least for American players. And that would be Paul Arriola moving to Swansea City. So again, another loan from an MLS team. And Pat, I don't believe this loan deal had a purchase option. Excuse me. So this is just a simple loan for the spring season. Or at least when the MLS season begins, it seems like all these deals have that recall, recondition, or condition. Excuse me. I think this move personally really suits Paul. He's a player that's gritty, has some technical ability that we've seen, at the full USMNT level. And I just think that style suits the English Championship really well. It's the same type of thing with Jordan Morris. Both players really like to put their head down and run at defenders. They've got great attitudes, great mentalities to make it over in England. So I think this is, again, a similar move to that. When you look at how Swansea play, so they like to play kind of a three at the back with wing backs going forward. So I think you could see Paul slide in as the right-sided wing back for this team. And that's a position he's played for at DC United for almost a season. I wouldn't say last year, but kind of the season before, because obviously he was injured last year. Right. He tore his ACL. So it's tough to be on the pitch when you're injured. But so I think going to Swansea City, you could definitely see him start in that position for them. And Pat, honestly, I think that's a great role for him. Going abroad, he's already played in Mexico, so this is just kind of another challenge for him, and I think he's gonna hit the ground running, to be completely honest.
Yeah, and this is one of those players, Austin, I personally just wanted to see in Europe. He is just one of those MLS just veterans that, and again, had that experience in Mexico too, but just somebody you really count on for the national team, even with all the ups and downs, recently. Just somebody, I think Arriola is one of those names you just want to include, along with Legit. But I think Arriola just has that passion and again, that technical ability and speed to just go forward and just cause havoc, I think, in the championship. And where Swansea is positioned, I think it'll just be really exciting and to see if he can kind of propel them back up. With Morris there, I think it's just, awesome to see some Americans, really just striving to reach success. So yeah, again, Austin, just quickly saying that I love this move and maybe this taste of football across the pond, you could say, will open his eyes and maybe we could see a permanent move. Just a dream of mine down the road.
Yeah, right. I know we would be kind of in favor for that, but I think it's really cool just to see some of these players that are moving abroad, Paul Arriola, Jordan Morris, these are players that had a role in the USMNT. And I think now that you're seeing more players move, they're kind of, looking at that as we got to kind of, move to take the next level in our careers just to stay relevant with the USMNT. So I really just think that that's a really interesting dynamic to some of these moves. And yeah, like you said, Pat, I think Paul is someone who can definitely make it overseas and make it in the championship and even, the Premier League if they get promoted. I think he's got that ability and just has that mental drive to kind of take his game to the next level. So yeah, I'm excited, Pat. I think we got a lot of transfers that we really should be proud about, and now we're excited to cover for the rest of the season. So I think, Pat, with that, we're going to head over now to Quick Kicks.
All right, guys, I think you know what time it is here. We had a lot of exciting transfers to cover, but I think let's head over to my favorite topic here, and that's none other than Quick Kicks.
So you could test Wayne Miller. It's Altidore over the wall, and that one is in! Josie Altidore from a long way out. The opening goal for the United States.
And to start off Quick Kicks, everyone, we're heading over to the Premier League with Christian Pulisic. He actually subbed on the 46th minute there and a 2-0 win and got an assist in the 84th. So nice to see him make an impact, Austin, under a new coach, Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, now we just need to see him start a game, but hey, we'll get there. Right. I guess when we get there. And going to Germany, we have Gio Reyna. So Gio started and played all 90 minutes for Dortmund in their 3-1 win over Augsburg.
So Weston McKennie for Juventus there. I want to start back with the Coppa Italia versus Ball on the 27th. He subbed on in the 87th minute there in a 4-0 win. Great to see. And then over the weekend, Serie A against Sampdoria, he started the match and played the full 90 in a 2-0 win. So they're slowly climbing up that Serie A table.
Yeah, and they have a big match with Inter Milan coming up in the Coppa Italia. So definitely keep your eyes out for that. And going back to Germany, we have Josh Sargent. So Josh started and played 61 minutes in Bremen's 1-1 draw with Schalke.
Awesome, Austin. And heading over to England here with Anthony, our boy, Anthony Robinson. Started the match and played the full 90 in a 2-2 draw against West Brom.
And going back to Germany, we have Matt Hoppe, who also played in that game with Josh Sargent, playing 80 minutes. And again, that was in a 1-1 draw.
No goal, but hopefully next time for Hoppe. He's a goal machine. But,
yeah, new contract too. I guess I didn't throw in there. He just signed a contract extension with Schalke. So I think he's now secured there until 2023. So yeah, great for him, Pat.
That's exciting. But we're going to France here with Timo. Tim Weah, he subbed on the 84th minute in a 1-0 win.
And going again back to Germany, we have Tyler Adams, who started and played 90 minutes in Leipzig's 1-0 win over Leverkusen.
And Yunus Musa subbed on in the 87th minute in a 1-0 win for Valencia against Elche.
And going to Brazil, we have Johnny Cardoso, who played the final 23 minutes for Internacional in their 2-1 win over Bragantino.
Going over to Belgium here with Mark McKenzie, the wall there for Genk. Started the match and played the full 90, the shutout, and a 0-0 draw against Mechelen.
And another Philly boy, Brendan Aronson, came on and played the final 18 minutes for Red Bull Salzburg, and that was in their 3-0 win this weekend.
Not a Philly boy here, but originally from New Jersey there, Matt Miazga, Austin, in Belgium. For Anderlecht, he started the match and played the full 90 in another 0-0 draw against Ghent. Not to be confused there with Genk.
Right. And going back to Austria, I guess, we have Eric Palmer-Brown. And Eric started and played 90 minutes in Austria Wien's 2-2 draw.
Nice. And Chris Durkin over in Belgium there, representing Truden, started the match and played the full 90 and actually had a goal there in stoppage time in a 3-0 win against Cercle Bruges. So Chris has been playing in great form recently.
Yeah, and he was also our YA Player of the Week. So he had a goal and an assist, and I think was also man of the match in their midweek game. So congrats to him. And Nick Gioacchini started but was sent off in the 32nd minute for Caen, and that was in their 4-2 loss to Chambly.
That's tough, Austin. And we got two here for Norwich. Sebastian Soto started with for the U23s there. Against Crystal Palace. He actually started the match and played the full 90 in a tough 4-0 loss, as well as we have Jonathan Tompkinson there, center back, started the match and played the full 90. So, tough end, allowing those goals, but nice to see both of them on the pitch.
Yeah, and that was Sebastian's first game action for Norwich. So, yeah, definitely great to see him with his, his parent club, Norwich City. And going to Spain, we have Fede Oliva, who actually scored 2 goals this weekend for Atletico Madrid Juvenil A in their 2-0 win. So good to see Fede back on the score sheet.
Great to see Austin. And heading over to Spain there in the second division with Shaq Moore in Tenerife. He started the match and played the full 90 in a 1-1 draw.
And finally, we have our young Ya, the first in a while, Pat, and that would be Arda Bullet. So Arda is a striker, formerly of the Louisville City USL team and also Stanford, and he just made the move to Kasim Pasa in the Turkish Super League. So he's 21 years old, an American player, and someone that we're excited to follow. So that's all for episode today, guys. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel down below.
And don't forget to check out our social media, Instagram and Twitter, providing always that quality content for you guys, especially with just a busy Monday here with the transfers and everything.
And we got a TikTok too now, Pat. Don't forget that.
That's right.
Stars.
Big TikTok stars now.
Yeah, and we also have a podcast version of the show, so go check us out on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and also Spotify. So, Pat, just how many transfers did we cover today? It seems like, too many to count, to be completely honest.
Yeah, honestly, Austin, it was not the Monday I was expecting. Obviously it was the transfer deadline, but to see it like this and see everything unfold, 2021 is going to be an exciting year for us.
Yeah, and if you had to pick one of your favorite transfers for this window, which one would you pick?
Ooh, I got to go with Bryan Reynolds there, Austin. How about yourself?
Really? Okay. I was going to say DK. I think Daryl's going to light up the championship and then, go to a top 5 league.
We need that. We need that for strikers.
Yeah, honestly. We have Matt Hoppy and also Josh Sargent kind of killing it. So, yeah, just add another name to our YA list. And I think, Pat, all these moves lead to one thing, and that is one day we will win the World Cup.